afternoon, friends. Hello, hello. Tonight we're going to be discussing the most interesting immigration news with me, immigration lawyer Alena Shautsova. Welcome, welcome. We will be covering the most interesting recent changes, what's going on, who else got arrested, what happened with deportations to third countries, promises that Trump made recently. Of course, we're going to talk about other interesting changes that are happening in our immigration. So please join. Please like and share the stream. And in the end, I will be answering your guys' questions. Thank you very much for joining. If this is your first time here, my name is Alena Shautsova, New York immigration lawyer. I've been licensed to practice immigration law in the United States for 17 years. And I use my social media to share with you guys immigration news, stories, tips, and so on and so forth. So type up your questions, like, share the stream, send some hearts, send some love, and we're going to start. Today I had a long day, productive day. I had a first thing in the morning congressional breakfast with immigration attorneys and representatives, our elected officials, rather representatives from their office, and we were discussing what's happening in immigration and how they can help. You may know that USCIS sufficiently eliminated Office of USCIS Ombudsman. So you guys, unfortunately, don't have much help now with immigration cases, free help, because USCIS Ombudsman's office would help out people for free to find out the status of their claims, to push for that interview, lost notices. They were assisting with all of that. And guess what happened? Once Trump administration took office, they said no more. So now if you need some help, you have no other resource but to go to an immigration attorney or maybe your congressman, right? Because many of them, they do have special staff that helps you guys with immigration cases. And these are the people we met with today. We talked about various situations in our immigration, recent litigation, and so on and so forth. In the afternoon, I was interviewed by a newspaper where I was sharing my thoughts on travel at this time and other issues that we're having in our immigration life. And of course, I will share with you, I'll give you some insights as well. But the main point of tonight is to discuss what's happening nationwide and locally, something that I think we all want to know and something that we all want to talk about. For example, well, guess what? It's happening now. Trump administration promised that they will be deporting people to the countries of their liking, of their choosing. And apparently there is a litigation going on where it seems that at least one person was removed to South Sudan. If you do not know, South Sudan is a country in Africa that was torn by violence since about 2011. They had a brutal civil war going on. They also have a war with Sudan, their neighbor. They're actually experiencing severe hunger still. Despite the fact that they have some natural resources, the country is in turmoil. And that's where it is believed a person was deported to, a person from Vietnam. Well, a federal judge did not like that. He asked the government as to what happened and where the person was. And to this question, the government stated that it was a classified information and they would not disclose it to a federal judge. So guess what? Usually if somebody doesn't want to share something, it's probably true. Well, it's not, funny for the person from Vietnam. if he was truly deported to South Sudan, it's a sheer disaster. That's where we stand with those deportations to third countries, even though the United States Supreme Court recently held that Trump's administration cannot use Alien Enemies Act to deport somebody, bypassing their due process rights. But, we see that's happening. Now, another interesting situation with traveling, something that I wanted to share with you guys. So, we have more and more reports that green card holders who travel overseas and come back, and often these people traveled previously many times using their green card, but now they're being detained. Like this individual, a Washington state man detained by immigration agents at Seattle airport after family vacation. That was very unexpected for them that he's going to be detained. And it is believed that it happened due to his a minor criminal trouble that he had, old conviction. This is why I would like to remind you guys, if you would like to travel at this time and you are not a US citizen, please consult with an immigration attorney prior to leaving. This person traveled for a vacation purpose. It means he didn't really have to go anywhere, but he risks his status in the United States, lives of his family members. It's not his fault, of course, that it's happened, but it was purely avoidable in his situation. Something to keep in mind. Now, he's not the only person who got arrested. US Congresswoman charged with assault outside immigration center. US Congresswoman charged with assault outside the immigration center. Guess she'll be arrested next? Well, there was a confrontation going on between elected officials who, in New Jersey, were inspecting immigration detention facilities. And during that inspection, something transpired, and there was some sort of a confrontation going on with officers. New Jersey mayor was arrested, I believe Newark mayor, and now this congresswoman is charged with assault outside the immigration center. And it's a serious charge. That charge carries potential jail sentence. So we definitely see a very much different landscape, immigration landscape, right? A lot is going on right now. So all of this just tells you what? It tells you that number one, you have to be very careful. If you do not have to travel somewhere, please don't. You rather wait, consult with an attorney. Don't accept that risk. It's unnecessary. Okay? I'm talking about overseas travel primarily, even though recently there were reports. Again, I did not verify them, but there were reports that ICE agents would inspect and arrest people at local airports as well. Not airports, not during your entry to the United States, right? Number two, you shouldn't be just prepared. You should be over prepared. When you are filing documents with USCIS or when you are traveling, you would like to have all your records in check. If your conviction was purged from your record, if you received certificate of being free from civil disabilities, for immigration purposes, not necessarily it's going to be helpful, but it may help you, okay, to convince that CBP officer perhaps to appear for a secondary inspection rather than being detained right then and there at the airport. If you have a dismissal, of course, you should have those documents with you if you must travel. If you're somebody who's a green card holder and you are traveling back to the United States after staying without a re-entry permit, after staying overseas for more than 6 months, please make sure to get documents, evidence that you did not abandon your status in the United States, and things like that. If you have just a visa, try not to travel at all. I'm talking about students, guys. Students, those of you who are on a student visa and right now there will be a break, you would like to go and see your family. If you can wait, don't do it. Things like that. You have to be overprepared. So also you have to stay on top of these developments. If you have an interview coming up, if you are filing something, you need to see how the law is changing, what would be your chances of success, and realistically speaking, what you are facing. One more important thing. This is my third time reminding you all that if you had administratively closed case in immigration court, expect that case to be soon reopened. It's very, very important. Okay, be prepared. The DHS Council started filing motions to reopen. You can object, and it's going to be up to the judge if they will be placing that case for you on an active calendar. Okay. Now, if you guys have questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you for your patience. Let me see what questions we have. Thank you guys on TikTok for your hearts. Don't forget to follow so that we are staying connected, of course. And next time I have live, you will receive that notification and join. So let's see what immigration questions you have for me today. Thank you, Unknown Guru, for the gift. Hi, YZ Lama. How long does I-730 process take? I-730 is a petition for your family member that one may file within 2 years after they granted asylum in the United States. Well, usually it takes from anywhere from 4 to 8 months for that petition to be approved. And after that, you have to work with a consulate to schedule an interview for your family member and to appear for that interview for them to get processed and get a visa. Okay. Hi, Alamgir. Asylum green card after, green card after asylum. How long? Oh no, you received the green card after asylum, and you would like to know when you can file for your citizenship. Well, when you receive a green card based on granted asylum, that green card is going to be the date on that green card is going to be rolling back for 1 year. So you're going to look at your green card, and there will be printed a date there. It's going to say resident since. So you're going to look at the date and you're going to count 4 years and 9 months from that date. And this is when you will be able to file for that citizenship. Okay, 4 years and 9 months from the date printed on your green card next to resident since. All right. Hi, LK Boutique. Do you work with other states? Absolutely. We serve all 50 states and we help clients overseas. Yes. Need help with citizenship? Guys, if you need help, call my office from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're answering phone calls and you can book that appointment or you can book it at any time using my website, Shautsova.com. Right? There is a red button there, schedule consultation, and you just choose the date and time convenient for you and the type of the consultation you would like to have. We have shorter consultations that are cheaper, longer consultations that are more expensive, consultations where I give you written summary of what we discussed and my advice, and those are the most expensive ones. Some people need that, not everybody. So it depends on what you would like to have and your goals, and if you would like to have in-person appointment in New York, you can do that too, but you'll have to call for that, clear it with my staff. Okay. Hi, Matroshka Polly. Okay. Is it safe to ask police for supplement B in Florida? Oh, this is a good question. Florida, unlike all other states, or some states, or most states, the police was, they are allowed, they're encouraged to enforce immigration laws. So what I would do if I were you, I would consult with an attorney and I would ask a lawyer to help you out with that certification. Okay. Why? Because, well, it's safer than going there in person, just in case, right? And of course, because the lawyer is going to pre-fill that document for you, the U visa certification. And most importantly, a lawyer will be able to consult you whether or not you even should start this whole process. whether it's worth it for you to risk your status here, right? And speak to the police if you have good chances, if you were cooperative with the police, if you suffered severe harm as a result of the crime, then of course it is worth it for you. All right. Can I travel? All right. Can I travel with home country passport? Wait. And refugee green card to a third country? No, no. If you received refugee or asylee status in the United States, you only should be traveling with a refugee travel document. Forget that local passport of yours. Forget it. That's it. Gone. All right. Thank you very much, Haledus, for your gift. All right. Let's see. Let's see who we have here. What other questions we have? My husband had his interview for citizenship. He had a battery in 2020. You think he has a good chance? He had a battery. He was charged with a battery. That's what happened. What was the result of the charge? If that's the case, you know, I would need to know that. I hope that he worked with an attorney, right? And if so, you know, they should have cleared him basically for the citizenship, right? So I hope that's exactly what happened. If you need, usually guys, if you had any kind of criminal charges, you shouldn't be filing for citizenship without attorney's help, right? That's very, very important. Very important. All right, let me answer some questions on Facebook. All right. What do we have? All right. Hi, why Huri asking for a friend came in. US visa crew. SEMA apply for asylum. Received GPS. Used advanced parole to travel and came back. She has just status. Oh, okay. So I guess the question is if a person who entered the United States back on a parole after they traveled on a parole, will they be able to get status in the United States if initial entry was based on that C1D visa? Yes, they should be able to. Absolutely, they should be able to. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. Well, let's see if we have more questions here. There is a video of that woman assaulting a federal officer. I didn't see her assaulting a federal officer in the video. You're referring, of course, to the Congresswoman. There was a crowd of people, and yes, they were bumping into each other. But if that's an assault, I mean, you know. All right, let's see. In removal proceedings, 730 is approved. Guys on TikTok, I will have to disconnect and reconnect. Just be patient. All right. So a motion to reopen this BIA. Let me see. In the removal proceedings, 730 approved. File for cancellation of removal and motion to reopen this BIA this year. When granted, can I apply for a work permit? Thank you. All right. So the question is if you will be able to get a work permit once your case is reopened. Yes, of course you will be able to. For you to get the work permit, you need to have something going on, something pending, right? A different question is that it's hard right now to receive any type of discretion from the prosecutors. Yet, even during the hardest times, sometimes you can get a very good judge from the Board of Immigration Appeals who is going to help you out and reopen your case. Okay, so hopefully it's going to work out for you. And once the case is active again in immigration court, you will be able to file for a work permit. All right. Hi, happy kids. Can you please let us know how is the naturalization process timeline and getting approved changed from your experience? I don't think, oh, that's actually a very good question. So I don't see, in terms of a timeline, some negative changes. We all thought that certain cases will be stuck and it's all going to be a much slow. But guess what's happening? For marriage-based cases, I see work permits granted within the first 2 months after filing. Parent sponsorship, a woman, adult, daughter sponsored the parent. They already attempted to schedule an interview. The case was just filed less than 2 months ago, maybe a month ago and a half. So everything is being actually processed quite quickly. I do not know. For citizenship cases, if we filed N400, I believe in November, we got oath ceremony now. So how many months? Less than 6 months. All right. So it's really fast. So far, everything is okay in terms of speed. The way the government is processing cases, I cannot complain. I'm really happy, you know. And recently, we also were able to win a difficult case, marriage-based case, where spouses were separated. And initially, the officer was like, "Oh no, if they're separated, I will never approve I-130." But then we argued that they should just look up the law. The law has not changed, and we were able to win that argument, and I-130 was approved. So, what I see personally, okay, working with USCIS, I so far had only positive experience. So far, I cannot complain that somebody was non-responsive to our arguments, that my clients were, somehow disadvantaged. Not yet. I have not seen that. Given that we are only about 4 months, actually exactly 4 months into the new administration, but so far everything is pretty good. Some cases, older filed cases, earlier filed cases, were even granted without interview. But not everybody is going to be lucky. Now, if you file a case, you will be called for the interview, even if it's a son, daughter to parent sponsorship or employment visa adjustment of status sort of situation. But again, I cannot complain. Okay, some people say that they had a different experience, but so far in New York, we're very lucky, I think. Okay. Hi, Agustin. When I-45 based on VAWA after interview update to fingerprint were applied biometric, I want to know if it's a good sign. How long do you think this will get approved? All right, so I do not know if it will be approved. Okay, just because the biometrics were taken and were uploaded to your file, it's not an indication of any future decision by USCIS. It's a necessary step, of course, but it doesn't mean that your case actually will be approved. You have to understand that. I hope it will. I'm not familiar with your case, but you need to understand that when you receive any type of little approval, it doesn't mean that the case will be a little step, doesn't mean that the case actually will be successful. Typically, it takes about 2 years for the VAWA case to be approved. Why? There are a lot of VAWA cases, many VAWA cases, and not enough offices who are processing them. That's why. High Success 25. Will administratively closed cases with good morals and no criminal record will be reopened in July 2025? Any case can be reopened in July of 2025. The government already started filing those motions. They're already out. They're sending them out. So your lawyer, the lawyer that you had on file from several years ago, probably, will receive a notice, okay? And you guys will have 10 days to respond and argue that your case should not be reopened, perhaps. Maybe you're waiting for something and things like that. But they don't care that you don't have a criminal conviction. It's not about that. They just want to get rid of those forever pending cases, okay? All right. What is the current wait time for parents' adjustment of status after the biometrics? Then you guys will have to wait for the interview, okay? We are only 4 months with the new administration. So I don't think we have accurate statistic yet. All right. All right. Hello, can I travel to my home country if I got my green card through SIGIS, Special Immigrant Juvenile Status? Yes, of course you can. Absolutely. Of course you can. If your removal order has been canceled, does it mean that it was administratively closed? No, it doesn't mean that. You will have to actually look at the judge's decision, and it's going to tell you what exactly happened, whether the case was terminated, dismissed, or administratively closed. All right? That's what you need to do. Ask your attorney to give you a copy of that court order so that you can have it on file. It's very important. And then you can, examine it. If you still don't have a clear understanding as to what happened, you can show it to an attorney and they will be happy to consult you. All right? Hi, spoiled Trini. Good evening. How long does it take for USCIS to give receipt number for K1 visa? That's one negative thing that I've noticed. For some reason, it takes USCIS a very long time, up to 2 to 3 months, to issue receipts for the filings. That's true. Okay, so you may wait for a significant amount of time. I would say about 90 days sometimes. Okay. Hi Bella, is there any chance of winning my affirmative asylum if I once worked unlawfully? Yes, yes, of course, there is a chance. Hi, I have a question. Do we have any news about appeal? Um, if you have, it says you are my client. I do not know who you are on immigration. But if my clients know that they can simply email me or call my office at any point and ask questions, all right? So you can contact my office if you're truly my client and just say, hey, what is the progress of the case? And we reply within 24, maximum 48 hours. But if you have a different lawyer, then you ask that attorney. Typically speaking, some appeals are pending for years. Some appeals may be pending for 2 years. Very often it happens with the Board of Immigration Appeals, and you're not going to have any news. Okay. How long does it take for Department of Justice to respond after submit a case to LEA applying for a T visa? Well, do not know, but you don't have to wait for them. A T visa, unlike U visa, does not require you to bring any type of certification from anyone. All you need to do is to report the criminal activity. All right. So typically, what we do, we report the criminal activity. We have a copy of the complaint, right? And if the government agency does not respond to us within 30 days, then we just proceed with filing. But we, of course, have this information handy and we attach copy of the complaint. But you don't need to have any certifications. All right. There is no need for that. Sometimes there is advantage of having it for T visa, but it's not required for filing. T visa is a very interesting thing in the United States immigration law. Some attorneys are not fully understanding it, and I have to tell you that actually American Bar Association has a very good practice advisory on T visa, right? Hi Mara, is there any update on the green card application pause for asylees? That's a great question. We have no update. When we met today with the representatives from Congress, they also confirmed that they know that there is a pause and there is no update. There is another pause on applications, on processing of applications by those who entered on a parole, including you for you. All right? So that's what we know. When it will be lifted, we do not know. Nobody knows why. USCIS liaison, the person who was like a middleman between lawyers and USCIS, was also terminated. That position disappeared. So we no longer have direct line to communicate with USCIS, unfortunately. It's becoming like this closed organization, and we learn about the changes from newspapers. Can a green card holder, US visa, go on 1 month vacation to the Philippines? Well, usually yes, provided that the green card holder never had any immigration issues, any criminal issues, right? Never been charged with anything, never been sued, never sued anybody, and so on. Then yes, they can, because all those acts may result in legal trouble that may result in trouble once you want to come back and enter the United States. Okay. DUI, no accident, alcohol before green card. Can I travel and return to the United States? Safe, don't do it right now. Right now, it's not the time. We are receiving reports that people get detained at the border, even for very minor criminal violations that happened 10, 20 years ago. So I wouldn't recommend anybody to travel at this time. Okay. All right, let's see. 5 years ago, I had okay, I think that's the questions. Yes, if you guys, as I mentioned at the beginning of this stream, the problem is this. Many people think that because previously, before this administration took over, even though they had criminal issues, they traveled out of the United States and came back. Now they're in clear and nothing's going to happen to them. That's a mistake to think this way, because there are reports after reports that people do get detained. In 2024, you wouldn't have been detained, but in 2025, you will be detained. So don't do it. Don't risk everything in terms of your status in the United States, right? Just because you want to go on vacation. Go to Florida, right? Hawaii. How about that? Okay? There are tons of beautiful places in the United States. Try to be careful at this time. Let's see if we have more questions here on TikTok. Any news? Hi, Samantha. Any news on the U visa? Can a work permit denial get you deported? Usually, if there is a denial of the work permit, unless there was a clerical mistake or typo, it means that there is some sort of a situation going on. Recently, we've seen denials for, again, criminal records. Then, yes, you may be deported. Hopefully, it's not your situation. It was just a clerical error. Okay. Hi, Vadim. I have a friend who was in an asylum case and got married and got a green card. After a week, went home. Now, immigration is asking questions. I believe that once you file for asylum, when you file for asylum, rather, you telling the United States government that under no circumstances will you be going back to your home country. Okay? Then what happens is that you receive a green card on a different basis, and as soon as you get it, you travel, guess where, out of all the countries in the world, to your home country. And then CBP is going to ask you questions. Hey, what happened? Remember when you filed that case, you told us that you'd rather, stay here in detention than go back, and now you're saying that it's safe for you to go back. Did you lie on your asylum application? Because if you did and you committed fraud back then, we're going to reverse all those approvals that we gave you. It's a real thing. Be very careful. Now, even asylum seeker under certain circumstances may be forgiven for traveling to their home country, but they will have to have some good explanation why they traveled and what happened to them, if anything, when they traveled. If, of course, conditions in your home country changed so that now it's safe for you, the government changed, maybe people who were after you changed, then you'll be all right. But you have to be mindful and you have to be careful. Generally speaking, you shouldn't be traveling to your home country until and unless you become a US citizen, and then you will be traveling there using a US citizen passport. That means that sometimes you will have to formally um, relinquish citizenship of your home country. All right, that's what's happening with that. So be careful. All right. Do I have a chance? Hi, everyone is forgiven. Do I have a chance at a green card if I-45 was denied because of marriage fraud per USCIS, but 21 discrepancy? Oh, and an NTA appearance in July. Marriage fraud allegation is one of the hardest to address, especially if it pops up during the initial application for your green card, not during the removal of the conditions. Do you still have a chance? Only, I guess, if you win that I-130 denial appeal for that I-130 denial, or you qualify for a different status, cancellation of removal, for example, or asylum, but you will have to overcome that chip on your shoulder, that situation with a good moral character, potential lack of good moral character allegation due to that marriage situation of yours, okay? So it's not going to be an easy case, I'm telling you that. Marriage fraud cases are tough cases. Also, if you qualify for U visa or T visa or with a waiver, you may get your status fixed, all right? Let's see. Do we have more questions? I'm going to answer a couple more questions, guys, for you. Let me see. Hi, Marwa. I applied for a green card as an asylee back in March, but there is still no receipt. That's true. You may have to wait for the receipt for about 90 days, right? Hi, Behnam. I come by 1 year refugee visa. Can I apply for a green card before 1 year be completed? Yes, indeed. You can file for the green card earlier than 1 year of lawful presence, accumulation of lawful presence in the United States, if that's what you want to do. But if for some reason government processes your case very fast, then you're going to waste that application. They will deny you. So time it right. Work with a lawyer. They will help you to, time it right. All right. Good evening. What's the difference, mailing or pickup notice after asylum interview? Hi, bad travels. You do not choose how to pick up your notice. The government tells you what to do. Sometimes they tell you to come and pick up the decision within 2 weeks after your interview. It means you're going to get your decision fast. And sometimes they tell you that they will mail it. It means you're going to get it later than 2 weeks, usually, sometimes even years later. All right, so that's the difference. Not necessarily an indication of denial or approval, but that's the difference. Hi, Alex. Future of DACA. Should we be worried? I truly do not know, guys. What would be the future of DACA? There's extensive litigation on the topic. Different courts issue different orders, then they reverse them. Then there is a stay for taxes. There is its own ruling for the rest of the world, their own ruling. I hope that we're going to find one elected official, congressman, who's going to finally bring a decent immigration proposal focusing only on dreamers and not trying to squeeze everybody else in that proposal. Why? So that there is a real chance for that proposal to be granted. Because what happens time after time after time is that somebody announces that I'm going to be proposing new litigation for new proposal, new law for dreamers. But then they, as if on purpose, put in there other categories of migrants, knowing that Republicans will never approve that. Why are you doing that? I understand that we would like to solve immigration or everybody's immigration status, immigration issues, but the truth is, in the current climate, we have a chance at one issue at a time. We have a chance. If you're again going to put everybody in the same basket, it's not going to be granted. Nobody's going to vote for it because they're going to argue until 2050, over everything. We've been through this for the past 12 years. So why you're making the same mistake as if you know that whatever grand proposal you have, it's never going to become the law, the reality. So if you find some sane person who's going to say, I'm going to be focusing only on dreamers, only for dreamers, I'm going to be passing this particular law, it's going to be short and clear, right? It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Just take it from the previous proposals, whatever that they want to put in there. You have to show that you came here before the age of 18, resided in the United States for the past, 5, 7 years, whatever the criteria is. Then we'll have a chance. And then all those people who qualified for DACA by default are going to qualify for that as well. But again, if they will be adding other stuff to that bill, it's not going to be, we don't have a chance. It's not going to pass. Hi, Leo 7. Can we amend the police report classified as simple assault with video, medical report, ambulance call, and psychologist records for EU visa? Can you amend the police report? Well, you can ask the police to amend it, but it's up to them whether or not they're going to be amending anything, right? It's totally up to them, all right? Let's see. Can a green card holder go on 1 month yes with application to the Philippines? I wouldn't go, but I know the Philippines is a very nice place. It's beautiful, it's warm there, everything is not expensive like here. Still, I would not advise you to go. Why? Because there are just way too many reports of issues at the border, way too many. My I-94 travel record searches show no record found for the traveler. I don't know the end report. Hi, Dilly. Well, your lawyer will have to file Freedom of Information Act request with the CBP. I hope you have stamps in your passport. Sometimes you can restore your I-94 if you have proof that you actually entered the United States, but you don't have that I-94 record number. All right, we just did it for a client. I'm sure it's possible, but you do have to have records that you actually entered. Your passport was stamped. It's very important, okay? They actually gave us a hard time there. It wasn't automatic. Tried to argue that we don't have enough evidence. It was crazy. But, eventually they agreed that everything is fine, High Justice, I'm asking lower court in California for plane ticket and a $40 child support. And if we too much, deportation. Not sure what's happening there. All right, you can add information to your question so that I can answer it perhaps. Hi, Shukra Tamer. Do we need a lawyer in asylum interview, knowing that we filed by ourselves for the application? If you can afford one, you should have a lawyer going with you. You should have a lawyer preparing you. I do not know the circumstances for your case, why you filed for asylum. Do you still have a viable asylum claim? If so, you probably want to have a good chance at that application being granted. And of course, lawyer can help you, can consult you, can prepare you. So if you can afford one, absolutely take an attorney with you. Just remember, if you also need an interpreter, your attorney cannot serve as an interpreter, not allowed, even if they speak your language. What happens with that is that you will have to take with you a different person, and your lawyer, if they understand your language and they hear that the interpreter is interpreting incorrectly, they can interfere and object. That is possible. One benefit of having an attorney at your asylum interview is that attorney is writing down questions and answers as you are being questioned. And that helps a lot if your case is referred to court later. Because you can ask for the asylum notes at the interview. You still can ask. But what's going to happen is that a portion of those notes is not going to be available to you, right? And you would like to have everything if you're preparing for the trial in court, all right? Well, guys, listen, thank you very much for joining tonight. If you like the stream, follow so that we're going to meet again, right? You can follow me on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok. If you need a personal consultation, call my office 917-885-2261 or visit the website Shautsova.com, my last name. Trust me, there is no any other lawyer in the United States with that last name. So it will be very easy to find me. And as always, I advise you all to be safe, to be over-prepared at this time. If you can afford a lawyer, take a lawyer with you everywhere, be it a USCIS interview, be it ICE appearance, or sometimes, if you're really stressed out, even fingerprints. Again, if you're really stressed out, all right? Usually you don't need an attorney going with you for your fingerprints. It's very easy. But thank you very much, guys. I hope you all going to be safe. And I'll see you later this week.